Have you tried to improve your life by repeating positive life affirming statements? And did you start out filled with hope, only to find yourself deflated and defeated several months later? If you've ever tried to use affirmations to change your life, you may have given up in disgust. But rather than give up, it's time for you to get up and start fresh. When you know what affirmations can and cannot do for you, you'll be able to use them effectively. After all, if you're trying to use a hammer to saw wood, you're going to believe the hammer is a useless tool. But instead of throwing away something valuable, you must understand its purpose. Welcome, everyone. It's Marcia Martin, the Heart Healer, here with you on Angel Heart Radio. And when we come back, you're going to be able to find out how to learn how to make affirmations work for you. So stay with me.
Angel Heart Radio programs are powerful tools for transformation, positivity, joy, and hope. They should not be used to replace your legal or medical advice. Welcome to Angel Heart Radio, where we celebrate you. We celebrate your divine connection. We celebrate your magnificence. We celebrate you as a beautiful being here on planet Earth, sharing your love and your light. We are so blessed to have amazing hosts here on Angel Heart Radio. We fan your seeds of hope and we help you to plant more. AngelHeartRadio.com is our station, and AngelLight777.com is our big sister. All the links, the series, host information, how to visit us, and really how to receive the best from Angel Heart Radio, and a whole lot more besides. Thank you for choosing to be with us on Angel Heart Radio. We're so grateful to share with you. Powered by love, Angel Heart Radio is brought to you by AngelLight777.com.
So we're back, and if you are trying to make affirmations work in your life, you may be encountering some frustration. And believe me, that is not a judgment statement. That comes from a deep place of knowingness. Now, let me share with you my first introduction to using affirmations and what I have learned since that time. So let's go back maybe 20 years. This is 20 years ago. This is when affirmations were really popular. They were kind of new on the scene, even though it wasn't really anything new. It was a new way of looking at it and speaking about it, and more people were aware of it, and it was kind of sweeping the parapsychological world, that whole parapsychology. We didn't call it spirituality, it was paranormal. It was looking at anything that was a little bit different from the mainstream. So the affirmation craze kind of swept the world, and they would introduce you to it by saying things like, just say these magic words, and your life is going to be so fantastic. Well, of course, I came to this at a time when my life was not feeling so incredibly fantastic. I was doing a lot of self-sabotaging behavior and unable to take responsibility for that behavior, and therefore unable to recognize that the belief systems that I was holding, the conversations that I was having, and the attitudes that I had about myself and my situation were all contributing to my demise. So I was constantly looking outside myself for something that would be the magic pill. Just do this and your life will magically get better. And so I stumbled across affirmations. Now, I chose not to do anything halfway. so when I got introduced to affirmations, I was absolutely strict as could be. I was such a good student of that program. I wrote them by hand. I spoke them out loud. I put them on index cards and I carried them with me in my purse. I put them all around the frame of my computer. I even timed myself so that I had times during the day, made sure that I remembered at lunch breaks, and if I took a coffee break, which was unusual, but if there was a break in the workday, I made sure that I was repeating those affirmations. I was completely dedicated and completely focused on making this work. However, I was also believing that this thing that was outside of me would do all of the work for me. Now, yes, I am doing the work of physically writing them and repeating them and trying to stay focused on them. However, our days are not divided up into little segments where we are paying attention and then we get a free pass for the rest of the time when we're just doing the la la la, allowing things to go on as they are. So probably that amount of time that I spent with the affirmations, even though it was frequent throughout the day, probably did not amount to more than an hour. Well, there are 24 hours in my day and in yours. There were 23 other hours during which I could get myself in trouble, as I hadn't done anything to correct my thinking, to correct my belief system, to correct the way that I was feeling about things, or to take ownership of my life. Instead, I went toward affirmations and said, oh, all I have to do is repeat these words and everything that's wrong will suddenly get right. Meanwhile, I kept my focus on everything that was wrong. So 6 months of really focusing on affirmations went by, and almost nothing changed in my life. So what did I do? Affirmations are worthless. They don't work. What a stupid thing. And I threw the baby out with the bathwater. Now, all these years later, I am realizing what an important tool they really are. However, anytime you pick up a tool and you don't know why you're using it, you won't be able to get the benefit. And so we have our first caller from 201. Hi there. How can I help you
Hi.
with affirmations today?
I'm really working on trying to keep my affirmations positive
Excellent. Okay.
and not bringing in negativity, even though I'm
Excellent.
surrounded by it.
So here, let's give you first a little framework. This is so important. Thank you so much for bringing up this incredibly brilliant point. I am so grateful to each and every one of you who call in and who write in and who remind me, hey, you didn't focus on this, or why, you forgot to say something about that. So my deepest gratitude for reminding me that sometimes I skip over parts that I've been doing for so long that I think everybody knows. You know how that goes? I'm like, oh, nobody needs to hear that. So tell me your name.
My name is Jackie.
Jasmine?
Jackie.
Jackie. Okay. So let's give you like your foundation to create affirmations that have the ability to work. Because if the affirmation is not crafted carefully, you can be putting a whole lot of effort into it, and it won't even have the power that you believe it has. So first, absolute rule of every affirmation is it has to be stated in the present tense as though you've already achieved it. So you cannot say something like, I'm really excited that I'm going to have money soon. Now that sounds positive. However, you have decided that you're going to have money come into your bank account sometime in the future. The problem with that is we can never be in tomorrow. We can only live in this present moment. So you would have to reframe that and say, I am delighted and excited about the money that I am receiving right now. You can be in this moment. You can be receiving money in this moment. You can be excited about the money that you're receiving. See, these are all things that you can do that are in the realm of possibility. Sometimes we make affirmations so far-fetched that they sound like we're lying. And then it also loses its power. So make sure it's positive, something you do want, not something, oh, I'm so glad I don't have. Nope, just keep it positive. State what you do want. Make sure it's in the present tense, and don't let it be so far-fetched that you believe that you're lying to yourself. So it's got to be believable.
So make it realistic. It has to be realistic.
Well, thank you, Jackie. Brilliant again. Yes, realistic, but no realistic. So we don't want to confine ourselves to what we believe is possible, because we automatically place limitations based on what we've experienced in the past. So I don't want your affirmation to say, oh, I'm so excited that $100 came in my bank account today, when that's normal. But I don't want you to say, Yahoo! I'm expecting $1 million tomorrow, when that is so outside the realm of possibility that it's just setting you up for failure. So rather than pick an amount, allow it to be, I'm just so excited about this new opportunity that is able to fill up my bank account, or I'm delighted about this fabulous relationship that makes me feel great, or I'm delighted, things that don't have a set factor to them that would cause us either to limit ourselves or to say, yeah, right.
Okay.
You see the difference?
Right. I understand the words that we speak are so powerful. I get that part. The part that is a challenge, right?
Right.
And I'm choosing that word challenge.
I like good choice of words.
Okay. That part is the challenge is to remain optimistic.
Okay. And absolutely, again, such a perfect truth. So here's what we need to learn how to do while we are working with affirmations. So I was explaining just a minute ago that, I went all in. I was so committed. And in 6 months, nothing. So what was happening in my world at that time that was preventing there from being any real change? Well, here's the thing I didn't do. I didn't take a look at my belief system and say, if you keep thinking all these negative thoughts, you're canceling out this new belief system that you're trying to incorporate. You're going to have to be more disciplined about what you're thinking, Marcia. I also
Right.
didn't. I also never emptied the bathwater out of the bathtub. So let's take a look at what that means. We all come with challenges, experiences, things that we want to learn. And we choose families to help us and friends and situations and challenges to help us learn these things. Because when we are in the non-physical state, when we're in our energetic form, there is just instant manifestation and no real growth because there's nothing to push against. So we get excited about having things to push against, having things to overcome. But if we're not careful, those things that we're trying to overcome will get stuck as negativity, and we'll say, well, I'm a failure because 25 years ago, I wasn't able to, and then we'll fill in the blank. I wasn't able to pass a test. So clearly, I am not very good at math. I failed my math test. Okay, that was a truth 25 years ago. But if you continue holding on to it and telling the story of that failure and continuing to obsess over how you didn't do well on that day, you are continuing to carry it forward in your energetic field, and you keep heaping shame and blame upon yourself, and you are muddying the waters. You have a brilliant, beautiful, authentic self that is perfect for whatever life journey you've chosen. But the challenge is the people that we encounter, the belief systems that we're exposed to, start putting different clothing on top of this authentic self. And sometimes it's very dark, dense clothing, and we can't see the light anymore. Most
Right, because
people,
I deal with a lot of people on a daily basis that have limiting beliefs. And I have a spouse who I love dearly, who I don't think he realizes it, but his belief systems are quite limited. And I've realized that because we're growing at a different rate. Like, it's not deliberate. I realize that we're growing at a different rate.
and that's okay.
He's trying to figure it out.
Remember, it doesn't matter when we start. So it doesn't matter that you've started before he has or that you're progressing at this point more quickly, because it can always be adjusted. He can always catch up and perhaps even surpass you in the spiritual journey, because time is just a measurement that we use in order to have order in our lives, but it's not a real thing. So nobody can say, well, I've been on the spiritual journey for 30 years and you're just beginning, so it's going to take you 30 years. No, it will take you the time that it takes you. So
right, and I believe that I'm going through it. Well, as far as we're concerned as a couple, I believe I'm going through it so that when he begins to go through it, I will be able to understand. That's what's going on.
Absolutely. And remember, you are the female half of the couple. Now, in the spiritual realm, the divine feminine is the one who brings forth, who creates, who is the inspiration. The divine masculine is the one that holds things together, that provides the support for the growth and the creativity to emerge. So it's very normal for women to explore spirituality before the men do. So
Okay.
here is something that you can do to support him and to support yourself. First of all,
Okay.
understand that you can't change him. You can inspire him, but you can't change him. So you've got to start with the one you can change, which is yourself.
Right. And I'm okay with that. But
Well,
the thing that challenged me though, like I said, I'm surrounded by a lot of people with limiting beliefs.
and I
I'm
get
really
it.
not trying. I'm not trying to change anybody anymore. I'm trying to make sure that, as long as I'm conscious of it, because sometimes I'm not, that when I'm surrounded
Brilliant.
by
Brilliant,
by these
Jackie.
people,
Thank
sometimes
you
I'm
for
not.
owning up to that. You're
Yeah,
brilliant.
sometimes I believe me. I work in an environment that's extremely toxic, and my biggest challenge in terms of work has been trying to navigate without absorbing the toxicity. Sometimes I do because I'm extremely empathic. And when it happens, I find myself becoming overwhelmed by the toxic things that's going on around me, and it depletes my energy. So I have to constantly try to ground myself, or I have to constantly try to, come home and release all of that negativity so that I could even sleep at night.
And you are brilliant to recognize that. So let's give you a couple of tools because clearly you have identified a role for yourself, which is to be the inspiration for others. However, you, as the leader, the one out in front who's going to inspire others to a better way of thinking, have to be careful that you're not exposing yourself to the point where they can deplete you. So affirmations are a valuable tool for that. But first, you got to make sure that you've emptied out the dirty bathwater. So the dirty bathwater is the belief systems, the fears, the negative thinking, the shaming and blaming of ourselves that we have learned throughout our lives. And we've got to do spiritual house cleaning. We've got to go in there and just say, okay, free pass for everybody today. I'm not going to judge anybody. I'm not going to judge anybody. I mean the energies that want to come forth and point fingers at you, which is your inner child, the shadow self, the different parts of ourselves that we may or may not acknowledge. So you're inviting them all to a party. Hey, Jackie's throwing a party. Come on, inner child. Come on, shadow self. Come on, parts of me that feel ashamed or got blamed or whatever. Take a look at all of these pieces of you and be honest with yourself. Hey, I felt bad because 10 years ago, someone said something to me that really hurt my feelings, and then I snapped at them. And it's made me feel bad ever since that I was not able to be kind and loving. You know what? Give yourself a hug and let it go. I am sorry that happened, but we've got to stop beating ourselves up. And then you invite the next one to the party. Oh, old belief systems. Look at that. When I was growing up, there was a lot of fear in the home. And without realizing it, I've allowed that fear to be part of my belief system. Well, fear, I recognize you're not my friend. You've got to go. That's the way we empty out the bathwater. We just look at all of the different parts of ourselves, honestly, and without judgment, and we decide what feels good What do I want to hold on to? And what has passed its expiration date? What needs to go? So once you're sort of standing there in
Mhm.
a place that's a lot emptier and a lot more loving and friendly, now you have fertile soil for your affirmations. So now when you tell yourself, I am able to achieve my dreams, or I love and honor and cherish myself, I believe in myself. Now, when you are saying these things to yourself, you don't
Mhm.
have that little voice that's coming forward and saying, oh, yeah, really, Jackie? Don't you remember when we all have that negative voice and it doesn't get invited to the affirmation party? It needed to arrive at the bathtub cleaning party. It needs to step
Okay.
forward and say, I don't believe you, Jackie. I don't believe you're this incredible being of light and that you're a leader or that you're really trying to inspire anyone. I think you're just a pile of trash. Make sure you tell that voice, you are not welcome in my heart or in my home or in my head. I am valuable. Really get into the heart space and do some deep clearing and cleaning out. And then get really busy with those affirmations so that there's not a whole lot of time. You don't want to just leave a wide open space because you're still
Okay.
raw. When we change habits, we're still raw. This old thing that we've been doing, I used to beat myself up every day. When I first realized that I had to stop speaking to myself as though I hated myself, it was shocking. And so the first 30 days of that was just, now what do I do? I don't know who I am. I used to really believe I was this worthless person. And I had to really work hard to plant positive belief systems in the place of this old negative belief system that I had finally been able to release by really looking at it. You're going to have to look at it honestly, but without judgment. You can't look at that, Jackie. Can you believe you are so silly? Can I can No, none of that. Just wow, Jackie, you're amazing. Look what you've been able to accomplish, even though you had this negativity working against you. You had this darkness that was trying to convince you that you were not worthy. Be kind and loving. Recognize that you're not making it up. It has been tough, but you're just not willing to allow it to continue to be tough. Now you're recognizing, whoa, up until this time, it's been really hard for me. Thank you, angels, source, universe, the divine, whatever you want to call it. Thank you for coming to my aid, for letting me see my brilliance, and for giving me this powerful tool of affirmations that I can use now to really cement in a positive belief system. And right now, get on my mailing list. We are doing a 90-day affirmation program where I am sending a positive affirmation every day because the holidays can make toxic people even more toxic. And it can be overwhelming. So I wanted us all to enter this holiday season feeling really uplifted and inspirational and not feeling kind of empty and as though we can be victimized. So get on my mailing list. It's Marcia Martin, thehearthealer.com, and that's Marcia spelled Marcia. And join my community on Patreon, which you'll also find on my website, because I have an incredible shielding technique there that will also really help you. Right now, though, make sure that you are doing whatever shielding you know how to do on a regular basis. When we are surrounded by toxic people that love to gossip and just keep focusing on what's wrong,
that's what I'm dealing with.
Yep, and it gets really exhausting. Really, really exhausting. So you've got to be proactive.
Could you repeat your web?
Absolutely. It's Marcia, Marcia, Marcia Martin, thehearthealer.com.
Okay, the Heart Healer. Okay.
And you have to be your best friend. But instead, when you wake up in the morning, oh my gosh, I got to go into work with all these people that they won't stop talking about what's wrong with their lives. They don't have any positive thing to say. They are exhausting me. That just makes you on their level. That is lowering your vibration. You're going in underground and trying to bring yourself to ground level. I want you to wake up in the morning and put yourself in the highest place possible, and then by the end of the day, maybe they will have worn you out and you'll be almost at ground level, but at least you won't be trying to dig yourself out from underground. So here's what we're going to do. When you wake up in the morning, you start with your affirmations. I am amazing. I love and honor myself. I am so delighted by all that I am and all that I'm able to do. And then bring in the angels. Angels, come with me today to work. Please help me hear when somebody is speaking about positive things. Help me interact with those people that are choosing to be positive. Help me find the words that will help others be positive and allow me to stay in a positive vein. You're in an uphill battle if you try to do this by yourself. You're the only shining light in a den of darkness, but it doesn't have to stay that way. So ask the angels to come with you to work, to be your shining light, to be your support, to shield you from the negativity. Fill yourself up on positive feelings about yourself, positive affirmations about Jackie before you get out of bed. Start a monologue of how great you are, how much you love yourself, how great your life is, what an impactful person you're able to be by holding on to being positive. Just keep reminding yourself, I love me. I am a fabulous being. And when the dark parts try to come up and say to you, but do you remember, Jackie? Yesterday you weren't nice to Sue. Just say, you know what? I totally get it. And don't have to go to Sue. You don't have to make it a big deal. I totally get it. Let me release that negativity, that thing that I didn't do well. I love myself. Self, I'm sorry that we are not always at our highest point. But together, we can go far. Come on. Let's be our brightest version of ourselves. Yes, sometimes you're going to fall off the wagon and they're going to be able to drag you down. But if you start your morning feeling good about you and you fill your mind and your heart with things, reasons why you should be joyful. Look at all the wonderful things that I have. I am so grateful for this life, for my family, for my spouse, for my job, whatever feels good to you. And you can even write a story about it. And if you choose to write it as a story or a list, if you don't like writing, don't ever give yourself a task that you hate, because you're not going to be able to do it. And then that darn ego is going to pop up and say, oh, Marcia, you're such a failure. You didn't even complete this task. So make it something you're able to do. And as you're able to do more, you can make your task more complicated, but make it easy to begin with. So in the beginning, you write a story or a list of all of the things that you love about your life, all of the things that feel good to you, all of the things that make you delighted to be alive. And you read it to yourself, out loud if possible. You read it when you wake up and then before you go to sleep. And what are you doing by that? Well, when you write it, and you have to handwrite it, can't be done on the computer. When you write it out longhand, the hand forms distinctive movements to write every letter. And when you're writing, the brain is actually receiving signals. It's getting an imprint. Oh, Jackie finds all these wonderful things to focus on. And it begins activating law of attraction to bring you more wonderful things to focus on. Then you read it out loud, and your ears are hearing it, and you're adding to your sensory experience, and you're strengthening law of attraction to bring you more wonderful things to focus on as you're strengthening your auric signature and getting lighter and brighter. So you're raising your vibration. Then you read it before you go to sleep. And now you're setting, the morning you set the tone for your day. At night you say, okay, energetic realm, angels, go out and retrieve for me more of these things that feel good. And allow this story to include things that you desire. So the story becomes like one huge affirmation. So let's say that you would really like to have a different job. And so the story could be talking about what would feel like the perfect job to you. You may love the work that you're doing, but feel a little exhausted by the coworkers, so your story may include a description of the perfect job which has coworkers that love to share about spirituality and what's going well in their life, and they are inspiring and uplifting, and you're all on this journey together, and you're trying to create positive change in the world. Do you see how I am weaving a new reality to take the place of the old tired and worn one?
Yes.
Now, this is work. I'm not going to pretend that you can just pop in for 5 minutes a day and really change your life. It's a commitment, but it is so worth it. The reason that you are experiencing frustration at work and at home and you're just getting worn down is because it is time for you to step into that place where you are really recognizing yourself as creator. The frustration doesn't come until the power is available to you. The power is always there, but it takes us a certain amount of growing and of spiritual understanding before we can really use our personal power. So we'll go for long periods of time when we are really not able to change our lives significantly. And then it just feels like frustration after frustration after frustration, and we feel like we're ready to explode. That's the time when you are willing to put in the effort and the time and the consistency to actually change things for the better. You're not going to give up in a week because your life didn't magically transform. You're going to stick with it because you're frustrated enough so that not going forward seems worse than doing the work to move forward. Now, I know you're frustrated, and I wish that I had a magic wand and I could make this easier, but you're going to be so delighted by your life when you really commit to, even if you're the only bright light in the room, even if you're the only positive one in the room, don't dull your light. Don't cover yourself up. Don't close your mouth. Continue being you. Your coworkers are all around you. Oh, Jackie, my life is so terrible. Oh, I just got in a car accident. Can you believe it? I have so many bills. I'm in such debt. Oh, I'm fighting with my husband again. They are wet blankets. I want you to throw off their blankets of doom and gloom and say, oh, Betty, I so hear you. Let me tell you the wonderful things that are happening in my life. I absolutely understand that you're in a rough place, but I have to share this wonderful thing that's happening with me.
No, Betty likes to bring gossip from all over the place, and Betty likes to take gossip all around. And to be honest with you, like I said, I have my challenges right now, and like
yes,
if Betty
you do, but we're not going to let them take. But you're bigger than those challenges, or else they wouldn't be appearing in your life right now. You've got the power to overcome them. So when they come to you with gossip, did you hear about so-and-so? You just turn it right around. Let them finish, because you don't want to get in an argument, and say, oh, I have to tell you about the amazing thing that's happening in my life. They won't want to listen, but I want to tell you about so-and-so and what they did to me. I can't tell you how excited I am now that I understand how I can use affirmations. I am really delighted that I have a solution. Just ignore what they are saying. Don't respond to what they are saying. Say what you want to say until they start listening, because they see that you are effectively changing your life. You are becoming lighter and brighter. You are becoming that incredible being of glow that they have always wanted to be but thought they could never be. You're the example. You're the first one to awaken in that group. You've got to put on your big girl panties and plow them over with your positive attitude, and do not give them the opportunity to wear you down. Now, here's another little trick. When you're in a group of people who insist on being negative, do not subject yourself to them for long, extended periods of time.
Right. I've been trying to get away from her.
Yes. Now, here's the perfect...
It's just that there's really no place to go.
But I have a place. I understand. I have a place that works every time, because I was in your situation. You can take bathroom breaks. Nobody can argue with you when you say, oh, excuse me, I have to go to the ladies' room. Disappear into the ladies' room, do some deep breathing, clear your energetic field. I'm going to teach you a special kind of breath that my angels taught me that really helps clear and reshield. stay there until you really feel better, until you're really able to let it go. That's when you join my Patreon community, you'll see a link to a video where I explain how to clear and shield using a trip to Rainbow Island. It's something that the angels taught us and gave me as a technique for a woman who was agoraphobic, who is now able to leave her home. It's that powerful. But for now, take yourself off to the ladies' room. Nobody knows whether you need to use the ladies' room or not, and certainly they can't argue with you. So it's your free pass, a chance to get away, and while you are in the ladies' room, you can use heart breath. Now, heart breath is a technique, a tool the angels taught me that deeply relaxes you while it fills you with unconditional love. So you breathe in through the nose, and you picture, you're imagining that breath, and you're breathing in unconditional love because you're allowing yourself to connect here with the energetic realm. Breathe in through the nose, and imagine that if you could see the trajectory of the breath, it would go right to the midbrain area, right to that psychic connection point, and it would begin electrifying that area so that you could really feel and communicate with your angelic support guides. So first you breathe in and you electrify that area so that you can really feel that, wow, I'm not alone. I've got powerful helpers with me, which is absolutely true of every single one, whether you can recognize it or not. But you can't take advantage of their help unless you recognize it. Otherwise, you just ignore them. La, 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 nobody's here. I want you to be aware that they're there with you so you can call on them. So in through the nose, electrifying that area so it's easy for you to communicate with the energetic realm. Then allowing the breath to go down through the chakra system until it arrives at the back of the heart. And now you imagine that you are exhaling from the back of the heart forward. So all of that negativity, all of that resistance, all of that feeling of I can't do this begins getting pushed out as you exhale using unconditional love. So unconditional love goes in. First it electrifies the midbrain area. Then it goes down the rainbow chakra chute, and from the back of the heart forward, it pushes away the negativity. And then take this one step further and allow that unconditional love to wrap around you so that you can emerge from your bathroom break feeling renewed and restored. You are not going to make it in a toxic environment without good shielding. It's too hard.
Could I ask you a question then?
Absolutely.
Sometimes I feel in my abdomen where it gets like really, really tight. Like to the point where it feels heavy.
And that is negative energy getting stored up, calling your attention to it and saying, Jackie, please release this. Let it go. You're going to do a clear. Just keep clearing. I now release this negative, heavy energy that does not belong in my body. Remember, you are an empath. You can feel all of their pain and all of their heaviness and all of their fear. But just because you can feel it doesn't mean you have to invite it into your energetic field. So instead of allowing them to dump their garbage at your doorstep, I want you to go out to them and wrap them in blankets of unconditional love. So you can say to yourself, oh, I feel that Debbie is having a problem today. Well, the empath in me recognizes that problem and feels deeply for her pain. But I will only be destroying myself, and I cannot help her if I take on her pain. So I'm going to wrap her in a blanket of unconditional love. Debbie may not want to receive it. Try 3 different times, and that's all you can do. Just do not take on any of Debbie's stuff. The perfect example of that was the energy of unconditional love is represented for me by the figure of Jesus. Jesus was like my friend when I was growing up, a young empath, very confused and couldn't figure life out. And I kind of latched on to the figure of Jesus because in my Sunday school classroom, Jesus was there with a lamb and a picture of a child on their lap. And so I felt, oh, maybe I can be safe with you. So for me, unconditional love comes as the figure as Jesus, and he helps me do the heart work healing that I do privately. So in the early days of my practice, Jesus would come and help me with pictures. And someone would come to me and say, I'm having a really hard time. And they would explain the problems, and it was overwhelming. They were seriously overloaded with pain. And there was a part of me, even though I know better, there was a part of me that wanted to jump up and say, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Let me just take that burden from you. And Jesus would start rowing a boat. I would say, what are you doing? I need to help this person. They've got serious problems and you're just rowing a boat. And then he would point over out into the lake, and there's the person drowning. And there I am, swimming and swimming and swimming, trying to reach the person. And I can feel myself getting more and more tired. And I'm saying to myself, oh, you've got to swim faster. You've got to swim harder. They're going to drown before you get there. But I'm saying, I'm exhausted. I'm going to drown before I get to them. This is impossible. And Jesus is in the boat, rowing the boat. Well, I get to the person. I'm exhausted. They're desperate. They drown me trying to get a last gulp of air, and then they drown. Jesus says, take the boat. You cannot take on other people's problems and be strong and help them move forward. However, if you stay in a high place of love, joy, and peace, which is your boat, and you stay shielded, and you keep your focus on everything that's going right, you can encourage the other person to join you in your high place, and they will be saved, and you will be saved. You're either 2 drowning men in the sea, or you're 2 safe people in the boat. So when they go off into their darkness, you will want to feel sorry for them, but that's not the way to be helpful. Turn off that button, say no, 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 no. That is just encouraging them to stay in their darkness. Get in your boat, row to your highest place, that place of love, joy, and peace, and say, come on up here, Debbie, join me in the boat. I have a great life, and I want your life to be great. But you're going to have to let go of all that negative talk and negative thinking and those belief systems that tell you you can't. We cannot save another person. we can help them, we can lead them, we can guide them. They've got to agree that they want to save themselves. You are a brilliant, bright light. You have done amazingly well in an incredibly tough circumstance. Now it's time to reward yourself and recognize that you've been doing it the hard way and still been successful. But it's time for you to do it the easy way. To go to that place of joy and invite others there instead of trying to deflect all of their negativity. Something wonderful happens when we refuse to go into the darkness. We end up living in this place of such joy that people either join us or they drop away because the two vibrations become so incompatible that they don't want to be around you. I am surrounded by some of the most incredibly, wonderfully loving people, and that was not always my reality. I had to change my inner dialogue first. So that's what I want you to do. Begin seeing yourself as a bright and brilliant light, and refuse to see anything else. Don't even let anybody go there with you. They try to have that conversation, you head for the bathroom until you can come back positive and filled up with unconditional love. And be the bright and shining light in the room for yourself and for others. And those that are meant to be on this journey with you will rise to where you are. Those who are not ready will simply drop away. You need a hug. I'm wrapping you right now in a beautiful blanket of pink and gold light. I see who you are, and I believe in you. You are a magnificent being, and you have done incredibly well with no tools. Now you have some tools to use. Use them. It's going to get easier. Join my community. Every week I am putting new tools in there, trying to make it easy for everyone to recognize themselves as powerful beings of light. Now, you'll have to pick up the tool and use it, but I can guide you and share with you what I have learned and what my guides are continuously sharing with me. They teach me something new, it seems like every day. And it's a powerful, wonderful place to be. I used to be where you are. And I know you can come where I am. If I did it, you can do it.
Thank you. I do appreciate it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Heart work is about healing yourself first, clearing and healing your own heart, and then from your place of overflow, going to the next person and helping them clear and heal their heart, and onward and onward and onward, always coming from our place of overflow so that we're never depleted. But it is becoming a movement. It is so powerful. The heart is your best friend, but until you have cleared and healed it, it's your worst enemy. So take the time to clear and heal your heart, really get down in there, get deep down in there. If you want to work with me personally, again, on my website, MarciaMartinTheHeartHealer.com, I offer 30-minute consultations to see if heart work feels good to you, or if you feel comfortable with me being your guide. If you do, it's the most incredibly fabulous journey of freedom you will ever experience. But it has to feel good to you. But you are invited to sign up for the consultation, to join the community. Everyone listening, you are invited. The more people who have cleared and healed their heart, the faster we will be able to create a world of loving, beaming, productive, positive people. So I am so appreciative of you, Jackie, of sharing with us and being honest about the struggle, because we all begin from that place. And some of us are afraid to admit how hard it is. That's not realistic. We've got to look at it and say, this really stinks. This is terrible. I got to find a way out of here. That's the first step. And then you start using the tools. Be consistent. You're going to have to be persistent and consistent. It will not happen overnight. But use every support system that you've got, because you're worth it. And as an early awakener, part of your pre-life journey, when you were choosing what you wanted to do in this life, was to be a leader in this spiritual community. You don't awaken early if you want to go back to sleep. You just stay asleep. So I know how brilliant you are. I also know how difficult it is for you right now. But I believe in you, and I see your light, and I know you have the power to do it.
Thank you, Marcia. I do appreciate it.
Absolutely. And now, everyone, that's all the time that we have today, but I really do want to encourage you, if affirmations feel like a tool that you would like to learn how to use more effectively, please go to my website and get on my mailing list. We are in a 90-day affirmation campaign. You will be supported for 90 days with valuable insight and affirmations. So it's Marcia, M-A-R-C-I-A, MarciaMartinTheHeartHealer.com. And always, all of you are welcome in our Healing Hearts community on Patreon. We also have a Healing Hearts Facebook group. So if you are interested in just what the materials that you can receive at no charge, that would be Facebook. Patreon is a subscription service, but it's less than $8 a month. So love yourself so much that you put the time and make the investment in your well-being. And now, until next Sunday, I'm sending you all my love.
You've been listening to another fabulous program on Angel Heart Radio. Our goal is to remind you of how much you matter in the world, and to let you know that we appreciate who you are in the world. You can check out who's on, when we're on, and who our guests are at angelheartradio.com. Everything is there. It's all just one click away. Angel Heart Radio programs are powerful tools to help you in your life and your life experience. They are not intended, nor should they be used to replace your medical or legal advice. The views expressed by hosts, co-hosts, callers, guests, and associates should not be construed as advice from Angel Heart Radio.